podcast, and I do this every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Spanish time. And if you'd like to join us live for this so that you can interact, comment, ask questions, etc., join on Patreon. There's a link below, and it's only $10 a month. And if you'd like to come to extra meetings, there's a meeting on Wednesday nights, which is an audio meeting. There's also a link to that. And I also do one-to-one private sessions where we can take a deep dive into things. Hey, Keel. And also I'm going to be in Brighton on the 2nd and 3rd of November. And what else? I'm going to be doing a 5-day meeting here in May in Spain. So let's see what I have to say. This life, there's no answer to it, is there? No answer to it. Can't say what it is. Though, you know, rational explanations can be forthcoming quite often through various avenues. And but have you noticed that those rational explanations, even the so-called spiritual rational explanations, are kind of dead? They're kind of just a bit turgid and syrupy. They're not this sort of like freshness of what the hell is going on. See, I like that. I enjoy when it happens. It's not that I live in some sort of state like that. It's not at all. I live a very ordinary life. But when I'm talking like this, or having a conversation about, you know, life, the universe, and everything with a friend, there's just like when it's contemplated, it's just like, well, there's nothing to contemplate. What would there be to contemplate? It's just this openness of I don't know. It's not a state of not knowing. It's not a state of unknowing. There's just no state. There's just ordinariness, ordinary life, just like this. And the wonder of whatever this is, because really it's unknown. Is it real? Is it not real? Is it even a planet? Is it, what is it? Is it solid? Is it not solid? Is it, it seems like it is. It's obviously happening. It's happening. That's fairly undeniable. Whatever science says, or spiritual speakers say, you can't. I can't say that this isn't here. But going back to the rational explanation thing, have you noticed that rational explanations, though they seem like something to get hold of, they seem reasonable, or oh yeah, that seems reasonable or rational, not so much logical, but reasonable. But it has a kind of a deadness to it. It's like you can never really get anywhere with it. Even with what's called, like people call a glimpse, like, oh yeah, it's just this. And it feels like, in that moment, it feels like, oh yeah. But you see, because it isn't anything really, because there's nothing to hold on to, because life can just throw up that at any moment, it doesn't mean that anywhere's reached. It's just, oh yeah, and then it's back to doing whatever was being done, go clean the house or whatever it is. So this idea that there's something that is tangibly an experience that will go on forever. That's it. The end has come, and now I live in some sort of peaceful state, or unknowing state, or freedom state. It's just really a carrot on a stick that is never found, because this life is always moving and changing all the time, and there's no point in trying to hang on to anything, because nothing can be hung on to. And you know, I mean, I was also a spiritual seeker, and all these brilliant ideas of the reasonable, rational explanation for everything seemed so real at the time, seemed so real. But now when I look at it, it has a kind of a deadness to it. It's like a bit kind of constricted somehow. And when none of those are there, it's just there's nothing to really say about this. There's nothing to say about it, because anything that's said about it will not be it anyway. It'll just be words coming out saying something that has absolutely no meaning whatsoever. And you know, as romantic as I am sometimes as a character, I try to avoid that if I can, because it seems as though there's something that's known about this, but I can tell you that no, absolutely nothing is known about what this is. There's no realization about what this is. There's only mystery. That's it. Not a state of mystery, not an experience of mystery, just mystery. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know whether this is actually being alive or not being alive. I have no idea. I don't really care, actually, because the mystery is far more beautiful than any kind of rational explanation or theoretical idea. It's way more beautiful. The absolute unknown. This is the unknown. Yeah. So I don't know if that's true for you, that the rational explanations have this sort of slightly deadened sense to them. And if there's anything that's slightly dead about any of the things that are wanted to be followed or thought of, or that's thought to be something, if they're kind of slightly a bit like constricted or a bit dead, a bit dull, then it's usually an indicator that they're just an idea, and that they're not actually going to take anyone anywhere, because there's nowhere to go. There is no other this that can be got to. There is no hidden this that is hidden from view, because there's something called a separate reality that can't see it. There is no separate reality that can't see it. There's only what's happening. If that's appearing as a separate reality that can't see it, there is no it, by the way, then that is what's happening. There is no separate reality. Whatever's going on in whoever, you know, in you, I guess. I don't know, you know, that's who I'm talking to. That is what is. Is it? It's like asking, is it not what is? Whatever's going on, is it not what is? Well, I'm waiting for your answer. Yeah, people put a lot of weight onto this thing called a glimpse. And there's only what's happening. So there is really no glimpse. It might feel like it, and it's rationalized as a glimpse, but it's not. It's just what's happening, because everything that's happening is utterly spontaneous and not up to anybody at all. You know, if there was any real control of the human, surely we could control the weather, right? I would not choose to be wearing a jumper right now. I'd be choose to be wearing a t-shirt, but there is no choice, you see. Feels like I'm probably choosing to put my hand up like this, but am I? I don't think so. It just seems to be happening all on its own. Or I choose not to be hungry when it's inconvenient, or you know, this thing called choice, this thing called control. I don't actually know if there's any choice and control, but I certainly can't find it. It's usually an afterthought rather than a pre-thought. Yeah, I like that. So a glimpse tool of what? Yeah, yeah. A glimpse of what? A glimpse, the veil parted. And the room was revealed to be a room. Shocker of shocker, it's a room. But I think that, often in seeking there is a running after the special experience, the special something, and really one will just be running forever, because anything that seems to be special, as if this is not special or something, I will ultimately end in some sort of disappointment because it can't be maintained. Then beyond the glimpse, it is implied by the main ND speaker, FAM, it seems that there is or can be a complete and final loss or death, which leads us to waiting in anticipation of that happening. What would you say about that, Lisa? Final loss or death? Of what? Nothing's changed. This doesn't change, and yet it always changes. Here it is changing as hand movements and voice and blinking and breathing. Is like the last moment a final loss? And where was the crossover from that moment? There's no crossover from. Is there a crossover from this moment into this moment? No, there isn't. So what would be finally lost? There might be an end of chasing after rainbows, perhaps, and the dream of the whole dream of somebody who can get somewhere, the enlightenment story, the whole thing, that whole psychological thing that this isn't good enough, there's got to be something else, if I could finally reach nirvana, that can be lost. But then again, so can the teenage years, so can yesterday. The irony is that nothing is lost and nothing is gained. So there isn't a final loss or death, because what is death? What is life even? I call it life because, hey, you've got to use a word. But this is death. See, that implies too much. So what even is death? Was the last moment ago death? And that moment, is that now dead? Is that dead now? And this moment has just arrived? Has it just arrived? So there's no movement in this from anything to anything. I guess it's the death of me story. Yeah, but the irony is that the me story is this. It is this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everyone's waiting for this end of this me thing. Not everyone, but some people are waiting for the end of this me thing. And ironically, the me thing, if it's appearing in the moment, it's not always there, is it? It's only there when it's there. Is what's happening. There's no death to anything and no life to anything. There's only what is here. There might be some other things, but I don't know about those things. I don't know if there's yesterday and tomorrow. I can't find them, so I don't worry about them. Really got what you said in your intro about it's all just mystery, the way it feels here anyway. I don't know anything else at all for sure. No, me neither. Yes, I love that it doesn't matter, yet somehow feels like the real liberation. Yeah, the liberation from seeking. Oh my God. From seeking. All these rational ideas of this has to happen and that has to happen in order to what? In order to what? Liberation from that. No one's liberated. It's just, thank God that's over. And then it's just mystery. Don't know. All those rational ideas, all those theological paradigms just melt in a pile of boring old goo, because that's what they are.